That is our charging cable.
Keep battery low.
We made it.
Plug in. This is absolutely brilliant.
My name's Chris Ramsey. I'm an EV adventurer and Guinness World Record holder.
Great title. But surprisingly, you started life back in the oil and gas industry.
I did, yeah. So my background is I'm from Aberdeen. And for anybody that doesn't know, Aberdeen is the oil and gas capital of Europe. So you pretty much go into the oil and gas industry when you grow up there. So I used to manufacture tools called Christmas trees. And they are basically a big tap that goes on the top of an oil well and it extracts the flow of oil from the well. And I discovered an electric vehicle while I was Googling away online one day at work. And that's what sparked my interest in electric vehicles. And that was 10 years ago now.
And you've been on some amazing adventures, crossing continents in your electric vehicle, and we haven't really got the time to go into all that detail. But what were the highlights? What gleaned on you as a result of taking on those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all I'll say that I'm no longer in the oil and gas industry. It's the research into environmentalism and the impact that industry was having on the planet is what drove me to kind of move away from the industry. And now I solely focus on promotion of electric vehicles, renewable energy technology. And I guess when I first started out, I had all those myths that people had about electric vehicles. They take too long to charge and you can't drive very far. And I think one of the things I've learned through all of my travels is one that the biggest barrier to electric mobility, the biggest barrier to humanity's shift and change is our mindset. I've learned so much of traveling through the world and meeting people that have that same mindset of kind of going, no, I'm not getting an electric car because they're not very good, they don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do this. And then when you educate them and they see it, they suddenly go, actually, this technology is actually a lot better for me. And it's a lot better for my kids or for the planet. And they understand it, and then their mindset changes. So I think it really is a mindset, is what I would say is the biggest hurdle that I've seen and overcome in my own personal life, is seeing that more embracing of technology and more embracing of change.
And I got one of the impressions I got from talking about your adventures is that really this point that we maybe get a bit hung up on, where will I find a charging point? But you found them everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah. And I guess, let's say, that it goes to my point about mindset. It's kind of like thinking, we all think you've got to put these chargers in the ground, these big, lovely electrical boxes. And when reality is, everywhere's a charge point. You just need access to electricity. And I said in the talk earlier on, I've charged from everything. You name it, I've charged from it. And any form of building, any form of electrical socket installed anywhere. So it's that mindset shift of saying we don't need big lovely flash boxes, we just need access to energy. And when you're at home, you can access that energy quite easily. But if you're out and about, charge points will be installed in locations for you in hotels or in supermarket car parks. That's great. But if you're at a location like a hotel that doesn't have access to a charge point, I've asked hotels, can I charge my car with a 3-pin plug? And they've said yes. People are very understanding of it as well, because they want to know about the technology. So think differently.
So, what's your mission in life now? I know you've got another adventure coming up, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But what's your mission, do you see?
It's very much about just educating and informing. My perception of electric vehicles 10 years ago is still very much a perception of electric vehicles today of other people. And it's just not the case. The technology's moved on so much. And there is so much going on in the world, because we talk about climate change and we talk about all doom and gloom, and we've only got so long to save the world. But there is so much already happening around the world that is providing solutions to solve that problem now. So it's about educating people about those solutions, what's going on in other parts of the world that we can learn from and we can deploy here in the UK, or what we can give from the UK to other countries. It's very much educating people about what's going on.
And you're up here in the Humber, you're at the Waterline Summit, and I know you've been looking around the Aura Centre here run by the University of Hull. What's your impression of what's happening in the Humber and its will to make things happen?
I think the first thing for me is what you've just said there, is the will. And as I said to the attendees this morning, it's great to see so many people here and so many people online. It shows there is a will to make a change, to make a difference. And when I walked around the Innovation Centre, I just came across a cool piece of technology. I don't know whether I can talk about it or not. I don't know if it's public for me to talk about, but I came across a really cool piece of utility vehicle technology that I didn't think existed. So it seems to be there's a great buzz here of people wanting to not only make a change for their city, but produce technology that can make a change elsewhere in the world, and also that can be utilised across the UK. And I learned so much about the refinery that's here, because obviously from a refinery perspective, people always think that's dirty, it's polluting, but I've learned so much about how that's changing, and how they're actually producing a lot more renewable energy. So it's been a fascinating visit, not even just to speak here, it's been a fascinating learning experience for me.
And your next adventure, you've been sort of west to east.
Yeah.
Now you're going... Well, you're certainly going, I'm not sure, it's south to north or north to south. Tell us about that.
It's going to be south to north. So in December 2022, myself and my co-driver is going to drive from the South Pole to the magnetic North Pole. And we're going to be doing that using a pure electric vehicle. And like all my adventures, we're going to be using a vehicle that somebody can go and buy from the car showroom tomorrow if they wanted to. And that's another fundamental part of what I do is normalising this technology. We can build bespoke vehicles, but that doesn't help to build confidence in the consumers. So we're going to take a regular everyday vehicle. We will be modifying it to cope in the Antarctic and the Arctic regions. So it will be modified to suspension raise, and 40-inch wheels will be put on it. So pretty big, beefy wheels. And we're going to drive, let's say, South Pole. We're going to leave Antarctica and we're going to drive through the Americas, all the way to Canada, and then go into North America, the North Pole, magnetic north, where we'll be driving there and meeting a lot of the local and communities, like the Nunavut community, for example, who a lot of their energy comes from diesel generators, because they have very dark winters. They have no sun, but they have lots of sun during the summer because it's 24/7 sun. So we're going to be learning from them and speaking to them about how we can maybe help them adapt their energy transition. Because wind, because they can't rely obviously on solar panels, but looking at wind energy and everything, because those regions have a lot of wind. And Orkney here in Scotland has shown how we can harness that wind to great effect. So we're looking to see if we can help them with that, but mostly we're traveling through the Americas and learning about what's going on there and meeting some inspiring people that are already tackling climate change, but are also using this technology to enrich the lives and the communities around them. So
fascinating. And of course, the poles, two critical areas in terms of the impact of climate change. The melting of the land ice, the ice sheet contributing to sea level rise. So it's a very interesting bookend to your journey of discovery through the Americas.
Yes, and it's the challenges that we've had to overcome is obviously because traveling Antarctica, the science and research people operate in those regions, but at the moment they do that using fossil fuels powered vehicles because they don't know any different, and they don't think the electric technology is capable. So this project will allow us to demonstrate to them that electric technology can operate in these regions. And we're also then looking at the innovation side, and we're producing a portable wind solution, and we're looking at foldable solar that we can integrate within our camp. So our camp will become basically a little portable microgrid, and that's to power us through Antarctica, but it's to then create a solution that allows maybe scientific research people to adopt in Antarctica and allow them to travel using zero emissions, or zero tailpipe emissions, I should say, and so they're not tainting the very environment that they're trying to protect. But you mentioned sea ice melt, and that's a big issue for us because we're looking at about a 5-month time span for doing this project, and mainly because of the tie-in work that we're doing. But when we're in the magnetic North Pole, when the time we get there, we have a relatively short window to travel to the magnetic North Pole before we're now getting to the points where Arctic sea ice is going to start to melt and is going to start to get too thin. And that's happening sooner every year. So we're guessing how that is going to be when we get there. And we're mapping that through satellite imagery, but who knows? It might actually be getting a lot thinner. It might be warming a lot more. So that's going to be a massive challenge, and it's something that I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm very much putting mine and my team's life on the line here.
I've been speaking to some people out in Greenland,
Yes.
and one of the challenges they've got there is the permafrost melting.
Yeah.
Even though it's on land, the permafrost melting is affecting the infrastructure that they rely on.
Yeah.
They rely on that solid ice, if you like, for
Yes.
transport, and that's going.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, there's it's trying not to talk. There is a lot of sad messages all over the place because Russia is having the same issue with the permafrost, and people thinking the amount of carbon that's collected within there and is now being released as well. That, I mean, it's a very catastrophic event, not just to lose, but it's actually putting emissions, a lot of carbon into our environment. So it's got a double effect, you know. And we've not to kind of put the planet is dying, we need to save it kind of thing, but literally it is. It's kind of saying to people, we need to get on with this now, and we need to stop talking about it. I mean, I'm taking these bold actions so I can say to people and governments at COP26 is say, be bold. You have to be bold. You have to take these actions now.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it and say there's a solution and we'll look to implement that in 2030 or 2050. You need to be implementing that next week. You need to be doing it now, because we're at that point now where talk is gone.
Yeah, because I was going to say, as a Scot, it's coming home. COP26
Not very often I've been able to say that.
In Glasgow. And are you going to be there, or are you just going to be...
Yeah, I'll be there and thereabouts. So I'm going to be in the area. There's a few things going on in companies I'm engaging with and people that I'm looking to talk with.
Yeah.
And it's very much that. But a lot of people have kind of said, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be talking, I'm going to be doing this, and I'm one of those people, but I'm trying to make sure that talk is not just talk, is how to deliver actions. And I'm talking with the Scottish Government just now about how we can look at solutions that are available, and Orkney is one of those, a great solution, that I'm saying to them, there is technology there is capacity, wind and renewable capacity there already to power the whole of Scotland.
Yeah.
And let's unlock it. Let's do it. Let's not talk about it. Let's just get it done. And I'm hoping that the governments will do the same. They'll come away from there and not make commitments, but say we are already going to do this. We've already actioned this. Costa Rica won the Earthshot Prize recently, and that country has never extracted or never explored for oil, and it's 99% renewable now. And what it allowed them to do, they demilitarized a number of years back, and they invested that in renewable energy technology. But the other thing that gets missed is they divested that money and put it into people, into health, into education, and bettering the lives of the people in the country. And that's something we can learn from and we can do here. So it's not just about saving the planet, it's about how we can enrich people's lives through making those steps.
I can hear in the background sort of lunch has started in our hackathon, so I won't want to keep you from that too much longer. But I guess I get the message from you then for COP26. Yeah. It's less of the blah and more EV car.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. I might use that. But no, it is very much, there's going to be a lot of talk, but it's very much, get rid of the talk. Have those practical solutions, look and learn from each other, but just go and get it done. Let's just get it done, and let's not have politicians having their say and saying all these fluffy words. Let's just get on with it and install and do the solutions. Like Dundee, like Orkney, it's like let's just get on with it. And hopefully with the Humber event today, I've heard a lot of people talking around here that they just want to make things happen, and that's what we need. Let's just get on with it.